need to classify text sentiment with just 3 lines of code. You'll see how to define a simple input-output signature, pass a sentence to DSPy's predict module, and directly access the Boolean result from the response object. The pattern handles the prompt engineering behind the scenes.
Sentence, it's a charming and often affecting journey. Hash example from the SSD2 dataset. #1, declare with a signature. Classify equals DSPy, predict sentence sentiment, bool. #2 call with input argument, s. Response equals classify, sentence equals sentence. #3, access the output. Print response sentiment.
This demonstrates the basic module declaration pattern for language model interactions. The code establishes a direct mapping from input to output through a simple string signature, where the arrow notation defines the entire processing contract. The distinctive aspect here is how the signature string alone determines the expected behavior without additional configuration. The pattern operates by creating a callable object that enforces the declared input-output relationship. When instantiated with DSPy predict, the module becomes a function-like component that accepts the specified input parameter and returns a response object. The actual usage follows standard Python calling conventions, where you pass the input as a named argument and access the result through direct attribute reference. This approach provides a clean way to structure simple language model calls by reducing the interaction to its essential components. The signature serves as both the interface definition and the execution contract, making the expected behavior immediately visible in the declaration. It works particularly well for straightforward tasks where you need to transform a single input into a typed output. Let's break it down line by line.
Sentence, it's a charming and often affecting journey. Hash example from the SSD2 dataset.
This initializes a string variable containing a sample movie review, which we'll use as input for sentiment classification. The text comes from the SSD2 dataset, a common benchmark for sentiment analysis tasks.
#1, declare with a signature. Classify equals DSPy, predict sentence sentiment, bool.
This declares a DSPy predict signature that maps a sentence input to a Boolean sentiment output. The string format, sentence, sentiment, bool, defines the expected I/O structure for this prediction task.
#2 call with input argument, s. Response equals classify, sentence equals sentence.
This executes the classify predictor by passing the input sentence. The named argument sentence equals sentence matches the signature we defined earlier, and the result is stored in response for processing.
#3, access the output. Print response sentiment.
This accesses the prediction result through direct attribute access on the response object. The sentiment attribute contains the Boolean output from our earlier classify call, demonstrating how DSPy structures prediction outputs as object properties. DSPy predictor basics. The code demonstrates declaring a predictor with a string signature, invoking it with a sentence input, and accessing the Boolean result through the response object. The signature string format implicitly defines the input and output fields without requiring a class definition. Attribute access on the response object directly retrieves the generated sentiment value.
The signature that names nothing answers everything.